Good enough isn't good enough. You can always be better. There's a lot of room on the table, man.
I remember just thinking, this is real. You know, like sometimes you have something that like a moment's like building up and you can feel that build up to it. The clock is not gonna stop ticking, it's gonna happen. And you get there and that moment arrives and like, okay, it's here. Like, and this is real now.
In my mind, because I was a Gurkha, I born in jungle. This is kind of my areas of export. My God, I was strong.
My arm was hanging by its tricep. Hurts like hell. Do you want to like step into the line of fire? Right, I do.
As we round up the year for 2024, here are the exclusive lessons that some of you guys might not have even seen yet with some of my favorite people across the military, the special forces, the SAS, and so much more. At the moment, we want to get most of you guys subscribed to this channel. So if you're not already, please go subscribe. It helps let YouTube know that you like these videos. And if you want to help support us as independent filmmakers, please hit the join button as well down below. Everyone who watches this on YouTube has asked me, is there a Spotify? Can we listen to this on audio? Yes, guys, we're available on all major streaming platforms as well. Please, if you enjoy the show, go give it a listen on your drive to work and make sure you leave us a positive review. Today's video, as always, was powered by Huel. As always, thanks for watching. Let's dive in to the video.
We mentioned briefly the 1% better every day. I don't think, again, it's not a, people want to take medicine that fixes them in the next day. What they don't want to do is take a bitter pill every single day. And 1% better, it requires that. Like it's hard work, but it's a little thing, but it adds up over time.
It does, and a lot of that, it's the consistency. Like, am I better than I was the day before? Yeah, because naturally I have more experience. I have more experience today than I did yesterday. Have I been living in this vessel for one day longer? Yeah, I naturally have more experience. So it could be as simple as, did I work out today? Yep. Did I do one extra rep? Mm-hmm. Did I do more weight than I did last week? Yeah, 3 pounds. Not a big jump, just enough. Just enough to keep myself on track. Am I still pushing forward? Am I still applying steady pressure every single day? Yeah, I haven't let myself go. You haven't missed a workout? Nope. You haven't missed a 20-minute walk? Nope. Why? Because I said I wouldn't. It doesn't have to be this. I don't have to climb Mount Everest. I just need to wake up every single day with a reason to swing my feet out of bed and pop up quick. Like I have to have a reason. Why? Because I want to be better than I was yesterday. Because the people that I support deserve it. Like I'm not perfect. I'm an imperfect creature. Ask anybody, they'll tell you. The only difference between me and you is I'm actively trying to get better. A lot of people just want to sit there like, it's good enough. I said the same thing, dude, until you realize good enough isn't good enough. You can always be better. There's a lot of room on the table, man. Like I can really be better. I can be better at a lot of things that I never even cared about before. Like, let's hammer down. Let's set the example. It goes back to the Be a Pro thing. Like that 1% better. That's how the professionals do it. How you want to get better at anything. Do it 10 minutes every day, 365 days a year. At the end of that year, you'll be better than 80% of the population that does that one thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Like that's the truth. It does not take an exuberant amount of time or attention. It just takes steady pressure. And a lot of times, instead of doing it, you just want to scroll through IG for an extra 10 minutes. Well, you don't have to. You could learn a new skill. You could polish on the existing skill. You could have a better conversation with your kids, your wife, grandmother, your mother, whatever. A lot of people just don't want to do it. It sounds too hard. It's like, I don't have the time for that. You don't have the time for that? You're not making the time for that. Same people that, they want to lose weight, but they don't want to diet. They'll go through 40 years of being overweight, and then all of a sudden you see them, and you're like, what happened to you? And you're like, yeah, I finally did this diet, and I finally just stuck with it. And it's like, come to think of it, I never really tried before. I kind of just stopped eating the lean cuisines, and I gained 40 pounds back. Now what? I don't change my diet. I stick to it, and I bring my food with me. I drink my water, blah, blah, blah. So you just adopted the fact this is what it's going to take. Yeah, it takes what it takes. You just didn't think you'd be able to do it, so you just stopped trying. If you make it digestible and not easy but maintainable, people will get on board with it. And a lot of times they need to see someone show them like it doesn't have to be rocket science. It does not have to be so complicated that you couldn't figure this out. Tell everybody, do a 20-minute walk every night after dinner. Do it for a week. Do it for 2 weeks, then do it for a month. If you're not losing weight, if you're not doing this, your diet is really, really terrible, introduce another walk. I know you feel better off the walk. I know you do. I've never had anybody like, man, I did those 20-minute walks for a week. I really feel like shit. Like, no, you don't. I've never had anybody say that. I've had thousands of people call me like, changed my life. Me too. That's why I keep saying it. Like, I don't get paid every time somebody does a 20-minute walk. I only do it because I know how much it's helped me. Like, without those 20-minute walks, man, I'm not kidding you. I would be screwed right now. And I just don't want to see people suffer. I've been there. I've been the only guy on my island alone. I've been there. And I hate when it happens to people, because it doesn't have to be. Like, we can get through this thing together, but not if you're not willing to help yourself. If you're going to lay down in the fetal position and cry to me about how hard your life is, it's not going to work. You got to be open, honest, and we have to be willing to put in some work. I'm not going to make it impossible, but got to make it work.
Flip into the other end of the spectrum, the being elite. What did it take for you to be the best?
For me, it was identifying a role model, someone I thought was the best, and then changing that role model every time I thought I was catching them. So you set forth this mentor, whatever he's going to be. For me, it was my father originally. And then I didn't have a mentor I really wanted to be like until probably my third deployment. And I got a guy named Barrett that came in, and larger than life to me. I worshiped this dude. He was everything I ever wanted to be, and everything that came out of his mouth was like the gospel. Everything he said, everything he did, the clothes he wore, just everything about him was all I ever wanted to be like. And then I move on to a different team, and there's another figurehead equal to that. I'll just chase this dude. Start climbing up the ladder, and there's another guy. It's like chasing that guy, chasing that guy, chasing this guy. And it's really just surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like, that are positive role models that help you up the ladder. Very few times have I ever seen people at a high level who stand on top of the ladder with their foot and won't let you come up another rung. I've only seen mentors in my life that are always doing this. They're always trying to pull you up, and the really good ones want you to be better than they were. It's like, all I've got to do is really show up and just put out. Just try as hard as I can. At the end of the day, if you've exhausted all the resources, and I can look at myself in the mirror and go, it's not for lack of effort. I tried. You are going to mess up. You are going to fail. You're going to make stupid errors. Everybody does. Well, how do you come back from it? Just try not to make the same ones again. And unfortunately, guys do make the same ones. I've definitely made the same mistakes over and over and over. And now I'm sitting back here as the whole picture unfolds going, that's part of my story. I'm not designed to be perfect. I never was. I'm kind of flawed from the very beginning. But that's some of the beautiful parts of my story, is I have learned. And now that I am here, instead of jumping on a pedestal, like, look how great I am, like, look how flawed I am. Look at all the things I accomplished. What I see is huge flaws. All of you guys play me on a video game and tell me how great I am. Like, I don't say that. Nobody else we've worked with ever said that. Nothing was ever good enough. We're always trying to be better. We're always trying to look for the flaws and try to make course corrections. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is most of the people that are at a super high level don't realize they're at a high level until it's over. The entire time. And that's the thing I love the most about that particular organization in the teams, is they get you to sacrifice. They get you to drop everything else like it doesn't matter, because you love that organization so much. You will spend the entire time of your career chasing something that never exists. And about the halfway mark, around the 10-year mark, you realize the perfection you're chasing, you're never going to find. You spend the next 10 years accepting it. I don't care. I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to be, there's no number one seed at this team. There's no starting quarterback role in this team. There just isn't. We're all equal here. And all I really want to do is play the game again. I just want to play the game again tomorrow. Play the game again tomorrow. And that's the thing that's beautiful about it, is once you realize you're never going to catch it, the thing you're chasing, you're never going to hold in your hand, and you fucking do it anyway. That's the beautiful thing about it. Sacrifice it all for one more chance to play the game, knowing I can never take it with me. I think that's what they do better than most organizations, is they tell you that. Like, you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to achieve it, and you ain't never going to take it with you. still do it anyway. That's a power that it's hard to, it's like loyalty. It's hard to define, but easy to recognize. Like once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like those dudes would do anything to be a part of that. No different than a professional athlete. How far are you willing to go? The whole way. I go the whole way right now. That's why I miss it. It's the best time of my life.
You guys know how much I love Huel. This is the best introduction into Huel, in my opinion. It's their protein bundle, which makes a great Christmas gift. Huel have just sent me one of these, and I want to show you exactly what's in it. 8 bottles of the ready to drink in every single flavor. This is my absolute favorite. You get one of their standard shakers, Huel protein, and Huel Black Edition, my absolute favorite. 40 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals, and slow release carbs to give everything that you need to get on with your day. Huel are doing exclusive offers right now. So if you check out the top pinned comment and use the link in the description, you can get exclusive offers from discounts to free t-shirts, free shakers. And if you use their subscription service, you get 10% off every single order. So go to the link down below. Thank you, Huel, for supporting this video.
There was something I think that was really interesting to me. You've battled with loads of different obstacles and friction in terms of what you've done. You've suffered an injury before while serving, and there's a great story about the you could have sat back. You could have, and again, it leads up to this story again. Like if you had sat back, then there would have been nobody there to have saved those 700 people. But I'm just curious as to that story and that moment again.
So I got shot in the arm in Afghanistan, and that's a story in itself. But the thing is like I took the bullet arm, was pretty nasty injury. My arm was hanging by its tricep. Luckily, I couldn't get to it. And it was a lesson, and I couldn't get to a tourniquet, so I didn't put one on. An officer later on, or not long after, got shot when I was put into his vehicle, said, "Oh, should I put a tourniquet on there?" And I was like, "No, don't. If I needed it, I would have bled out by now." And then eventually the doctor at the patrol base, she sorted me out. She did a brilliant job. And then they got me airlifted. They did like surgery on it to investigate surgery. And when I came out, the doctor or the surgeon was there, and he said, "Good job you didn't put a tourniquet on, because if you'd put a tourniquet on, you definitely would have lost your arm. We can't make the decision whether to amputate your arm or not. Well, when you get to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, they'll make the call whether you're going to lose your arm or not." So I didn't know if I was going to lose my my right arm. And then got there, and then they did the surgery again. Bit of luck, came in again, and was discharged from hospital. And then it was 9 months of recovery. And this is the thing. What I've said is like, yeah, it was, getting shot's one thing, and it's pretty nasty, especially if it goes through a bone. It's kind of horrific, but it's a good, like I've said it before, it's a good feeling. It's like if you're like one of these people who want to get amongst it, kind of getting shot and surviving and not having any permanent disability is kind of like a cool thing. It's like, oh, I've been shot. It's like getting the SAS. Like, I've been shot. I've actually been shot. And so it's kind of cool, but not cool at the same time. And then, but again, get shot, hurts like hell, pretty angry about it. And do I want to potentially get shot again? Do I want to like step into the line of fire? Right, I do. Even more so. So get this arm fixed. 9 months later, I got signed off. On the Friday or whatever day it was. Yeah, you're now fit. 2 weeks later, back in Afghanistan, ready to take the fight back to the enemy. And one of the things that's interesting to say is when I was in the Queen Elizabeth and some guys who were really badly injured, the common thing with the British soldier that I saw, British soldiers there who lost both, much worse condition, they lost both the legs and an arm, triple amputee what's the first thing they say when you talk to them? I just want to get back out there. I just want to get back into the fight. Some people clearly don't. And I think, and I've heard some sort of theories that if you get injured, that your brain releases some sort of hormone that actually fixes that issue. So makes you want to go back in it, because it's the most common thing I've heard with anyone who's been badly injured, especially amputees. The common thing they say is, I just want to get back into the fight.
Wow. You spoke actually about that before, about it's tough for me to say because, you know, I'm not involved in that world at all, but I think you see it with other people who suffer traumatic incidents, as it's sometimes that thing that happened to you is the reason that you become ex-officer or this or that. And like, it will actually lead you to probably your greatest calling, which is a tough conversation to have, but you've had that conversation with multiple people who have suffered quite severe injuries, right?
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's the thing that for some people, it's the best thing that happened to them. For others, it completely destroys their life. And it's too hard to humanize these things, and it's life gives and takes. And sometimes what might seem like a curse is a gift. And then other times what seems like a gift is a curse. And it's hard to work that out. And sometimes we're fortunate to get given things in life to then be able to reflect on it and work it out. But most of us live our lives without realizing what was the gift and what was the curse.
Do you think that's a mentality thing? Like to understand that there's a gift versus a curse?
No. I think some people might think about it, and other people just live their life without life's life, and we live and then we die, and everything that happens in between is life.
What built your mindset?
I do think a lot of whatever that mindset is, if it's like the hero mindset or the give no shits or don't tolerate bullies, all these things, or there's a natural foundation that you're born with, and then things are built around it. Like we're saying, the training starts from when you're born, and events will then shape it. And I think that like if you want to call it like a warrior mindset, is you could argue that everyone's born with it and it's just repressed. And then events in life will shape, whether it be your parents or events that you suffer in life or deal with, whether it be good events or bad events, shape how this warrior inside you grows. And then some people are like, it comes out naturally, it's meant to be out there. And other people's, it takes some things. And then a lot of people, it doesn't come out ever because it never had to, and it never will. But and when I say using the term warrior, I don't mean like a special forces warrior or a UFC fighter, or it's just day-to-day life, that warrior sort of instinct, that stepping up, saying the right thing when there's something need to be said, disagreeing with someone, saving someone, picking something up, anything. It can be anything. It's some people it doesn't exist. Some people it doesn't take anything to come out. They've had a great life and everything, but they're still natural warriors. And other people then make a conscious effort to try and enhance that and rip that out of themselves. That's my theory, anyway.
We spoke about there's like this differentiating thing between, like, you know, we take the UFC or fighters, for example. There's really, really good athletes, and then there's these other people, this small subset of people.
It's like from my limited experience of the UFC, which is like minimum, and just knowing some people there, is that and watching it and knowing is to my view, it goes back to the sheepdogs and wolves. I think there's athletes and fighters, and it's like the difference is, you know, when there's probably people who are athletes and they'll fight in the octagon and wouldn't dare fight outside it, and there's others who will have a fight no matter what, because that's what they live for and that's what drives them. And there's so it's that I think it would, like I said earlier, it exists in every occupation, every sport. Everything is different types of people. And it normally, to make it very basic, there's the two things.
Do you remember your first time that you were deployed and you were like, oh, this is really real, like where all the training had been done, but the reality of war kind of struck?
Yeah, I had done like counter drug operations and stuff like that before, and I had thought that thought already landed on me, but it wasn't like going into Afghanistan. I had a very unique experience going to Afghanistan the first time. When I got there, I didn't fly like with my unit to go I didn't fly with my unit because of my job as I ended up being an AFO Advanced Force Operator for a JSOC task force. I flew independently, so I flew by myself. There was some SEALs from that was on the aircraft with me, but most of it was equipment. Got on in Norfolk, got on a C-130, found a spot to climb up, put some gear, slept, and these few SEAL soldiers were going there independently as well to meet up with their unit, and I flew there to meet my command. And so we landed at Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night. I remember landing and thinking, walking out, and it felt like 29 Palms. It felt like the air, like maybe the I don't want to say traumatic, but the intensity, my senses like were able to just like take in. I remember just the instant walking out of the aircraft and feeling like my senses must have been really turned on, because I felt like this feels like 29 Palms. I noticed that, so my senses must have been like, I don't know if you ever had those kind of sensory overloads before. And I was waiting to meet the person I was going to meet. So they told me to wait here, and so I was kind of on the tarmac of the airfield. And I walked out to the edge of the perimeter of the base. And at this time, 2003, it was pretty primitive. Bagram Air Force Base was pretty primitive. They have these HESCO barriers, which are the earth field barriers. And on top of them were some concertina wire. And I walked up to the edge of that perimeter. And I remember just thinking what you just asked, the reality of actually being there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like real. I'd already been in like 9, almost 10 years around the military, so I wasn't like a kid. I was very experienced, and I was very trained to do the job I was being sent there to do. But like the reality of being there is like, this is real. Like, and on the other side of these HESCO barriers, out there in the dark somewhere, is the Taliban, the enemy. And over the next few months, like, I'm gonna try to kill them, and they're gonna try to kill me. That's what's really about to happen. And the reality of that made me like ask myself, like, am I ready to do what I'm being sent here to do? Am I ready to do this? And it was like a real, like, profound moment. Like, like sometimes you have something that like a moment's like building up, and you can feel that build up to it. The clock is not gonna stop ticking. It's gonna happen. And you get there, and that moment arrives, and like, okay, it's here. Like, and this is real now. And I remember having that moment, like, this is real. And this isn't training. There's no more getting ready. Like what I have in the Randy Couture is a guy I used to train with in MMA. He's a 5-time UFC champion, and he always used to say after training camp was over, the training was done, and now it's time to fight. He'd say the hay is in the barn. Like, it's already, like, there's nothing else we're gonna do. Like, everything's done. Like, now you just have to do what you went there to do.
Do you remember the first experience that confirmed that you were right in that thinking, that this is real?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty. Kabul, where it's where I first lived when I went to Afghanistan. I'd never lived on a base. I did 8 deployments, and I probably spent 2 weeks on a base. Like right away, like seeing the ISAF, nothing that we were involved in, but just because you like the first moment, like seeing ISAF, International Security Assistance Force, which is all the international community participated in this kind of security force in Afghanistan, and the Taliban getting a fight right in front of us in Kabul. And I'm like, this is like kinetic war, like happening right in front of me, and I'm just a bystander in it. But like, I'm in a war zone. Like, this is for real. And they were, shooting RPGs and rockets, and the guy on top of a ISAF mechanized vehicle firing a 25 millimeter cannon off right in front of civilians and stuff like that. I'm like, I'd never seen anything like that before. I'm like, this is for real.
With your experience, what do you think the reality was for people who, or for those younger guys who this is their, first deployment ever, first experience?
Oh man, I've thought about that a lot. Like, and I've always, honestly, like, it's always made me, because I went in during a peacetime, and I'm thankful for that, because it gave me the opportunity to have a lot of training experience built up before I got to go. But a lot of, when 9/11 happened in America, and those Twin Towers fell, I was a sergeant at 3rd Force Recon in the reserves, and but I was a team leader there. And when I watched those planes hit those World Trade Center buildings, I'm like, I was sitting down on the couch watching those planes hit, and I'm thinking, my life's never going to be the same. Like, I knew at that moment, like, because of my job, like, the world just changed. Like, my life is never going to be the same. Like, the first plane hit, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, somebody accidentally drove a plane in a building. The second plane hit, and I'm like, this is an attack, and we're going to make this right. Like, and when I showed up in my unit, but like, there was a wave across America, like every street. America's super divided right now, and it was back then. But like, every street. You drove down the street in America, and all you seen was American flags. Like America was united. It was very patriotic, and everyone was like, the recruiting officers were flooded, and these young men and women, their response to it, as young patriots that love our country, was like, we want to go make this right. We want to go, and it was, and so all these young men and women joined at 9/11, and then when I got there in 2003, there were still kids going into Afghanistan to rectify what they believe, to be attack on our country, and some of them were just kids, and their youth, they gave up their youth to go there, their innocence to go there, and I just could not imagine being a 18-year-old kid still trying to understand life and seeing the type of things they've seen in Afghanistan, seeing their buddies shot, burned to death, trapped in vehicles, blown up in front of them, carrying their buddies off, dead bodies off battlefields, watching their friends bleed out and die while they're trying to treat them and die in their hands. Like, I just can't imagine, being an 18, 19-year-old kid and enduring that. And, so I never had to experience that at that age. And so, my heart breaks for them, but also have extreme gratitude to, those young men and women that raised their hand and said, I want to go serve during that time. Because it's easy to go serve in a peacetime when you're going to get college and a job and pay. But if you were raising your hand after 9/11, you knew exactly what you were signing up for. You were going overseas. Not everybody did, but the belief was, I'm not volunteering to serve. I'm volunteering to go into war, and that's a heavy decision for a kid to make, and so many of them did, and they went there and seen that and endured that. That's part of my commitment to what I do today at Mighty Oaks, and making sure that those who made that commitment get cared for in the back end, even if our government's not going to do it right.
This year, we've been able to film the most amount of documentaries Mulligan Brothers has ever done, and it's all because of you guys. So we wanted to give back with the biggest Black Friday offer ever. Buy one, get one free across the whole entire range, and with every order, you get a free mystery gift. Use code 2025 with a link down below whilst stocks last. Once it's gone, it is gone. By purchasing something from the website on Black Friday, you're helping support us going into 2025 to be able to make even more incredible documentaries.
Do you have any thought on, a lot of people use the terminology for yourself, like warrior monk. Do you feel that that's the case, with, being in the SAS and following the spiritual side? Is that something that you sort of embody and take on board, or?
You know what? It's the warrior monk is actually, I didn't choose it. It's very interesting.
I thought that was the case, yeah.
Because obviously, I've been very fortunate with I've been fortunate enough to serve again best friend. I'm still, my friend who I was actually texting 2 days before. He's the head of the UK selection in SF, and I was just so fortunate, over my career. Without they giving me an opportunity, who truly I am, I wouldn't able to full-fledged human being. I think being a Nepalese boy, spiritually driven, but also Gorkha blood, and being Gurkhas, being the, UKSF is truly who I am. And it's my milestone of realization, act of service and giving back. I think without my true comrades, who's in especially my majority time in regiment, give me that opportunity, and without they allow me to welcome me and show me the path and truly who we are is their reflection. Who I am is their reflection. It's not me, and that reflection is we almost forget where is that come from. That's why I said when the British SAS give the life, I feel it's for me. Then it's the question of my own realization. Am I actually living my own life, or am I living someone else's life? Then if the death is so imminent and permanent, this limited time, what I need to focus then, what I can share with this lesson, how can we change the way of generation to come to protect and to sustain longer as a true, warrior and true warrior monk. I think that's why I said we need to survive here. We need to fight, without, regardless of who we are and what we have, doesn't really matter if you are dead, isn't it? So we need to survive. For us to survive is we need to act of warrior. Otherwise we become nothing and no one. This is the world. The evils and the heroes are here, but we need to fight whatever we believe, the country that saving our life and generation to come, to protect. Then once you protect them, once everyone is safe, then we need to evolve through, with the wisdom, with the knowledge, but with the true human way. I think that's why I think to having that combination of the warrior to fight, to will, and sustain as truly as human way is so important. Because imagine you just have one mind, and that's why we often goes, sometimes we often goes to the dark side, because we don't have a time to reflect, time to realize, and time to learn from the wisdom people has done for you, the ancestor has done for us, the country, the people. And then that's where the thinking, in a way, is meditation. That's where the monk part. And actually, is a couple of my friends, we were talking, and because I said initially when I left in 2022, I said I'm gratitude and grateful of what I did, but I think I truly believe, I think I need to share this ancient wisdom, what helped me who I am. Without this ancient wisdom and truly my Eastern philosophy, I wouldn't be able to live today. I would have been something else. And I said to my friends, I was like, I think I need to, I am happy to teach about, mindful and meditation and, the singing bowl and breath work. And they're like, oh, Chris, why are you talking? And I said, and then they were actually, once we start doing, they were like, actually, Chris, bloody hell, it makes sense, why you are who you are. And I think maybe the people need to hear this story, and no one has done with your background, and then what you're doing is very unique. And then also all my, sharing the ancient wisdom is through my own experience. One of the experience I had was in the Iraq, and in wartime. Obviously, we weren't going through the building. Anyway, mission was mission to achieve the mission. But when we going inside, we thought there would be just 5 or 6, bad guys. But actually, there is 20 of them. Then what with my commander was said is like, Chris, it's beyond what we thought. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call the missile, which is like air missile, and it's like, can you look into this one? And I was, anyway, yeah, as something has to done, it is protect our comrades, our community, and our country, that people are doing the supplying the weapon ammunition for the other people. This is the reason we are there. And we, in this modern world, they got in all these gadgets, like you just tap in the rigs and you can see where the mist coming. You can tap, just push, put the grid, everything, all this, AI, and we kind of, mission achieved and everything perfectly fine. And I come back, then I did meditation, then I did reflex. Then what I think is, here come in the most scientific AI driven, the missile is apparently flying from thousands of miles away. Can't hear, can't see, but you are on the ground. This is me, boy born in Nepal, with no education, no understanding of anything. Then I have the power to destroy the humanity, or then I have the power to act on only through my conscious being. Yeah. So regardless, I think the importance of the conscious human being, the importance of the evolved human being truly come from human, a person. And then I did what is right is only come from conscious mind. And I did the mission I happily done, which is the true thing to do. But what I mean is, if myself wasn't evolved in a true conscious manner, I would have destroyed the other people. I would have destroyed other life, which is no need to do. I think that's what the importance of the conscious evolve. Even at this day now, scientists are conscious in order to evolve the modern AI in a more specific human-driven conscious AI. We need the conscious evolved human being. If they invented the thing which is not human, they invent something which is, I believe, then I invent something which I'm not truly evolved person, then that's not going to be the truly evolved being. So what I mean is, the reflection was, for us to make a right call, for us to make a right, who is going to live, who's going to die, who's going to do the right mission in a right, versatile way, understanding situation has to come from the true being. And only true being can be observed and can be detained information through the meditation, through understanding the love, compassion, and through who truly we are. Then we shall and we will and we could make a true call on the ground.